As promised, couple of seconds. But meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're also sharing your thoughts using the hashtag ETABLC. With that, let's move on to our next topic, in focus, because this is where the big question that comes to our mind is how Asia can boost growth through technological leapfrogging. Well, if that's a question on your mind, then let's gather the insights from none other than Lynette Tan, Chief Executive Officer, Singapore Space and Technology Limited, SSTL. And let me also tell you that she's someone who identifies new opportunities and develops effective ways to harness and advance space technologies to benefit people, enterprises, and the planet. So that's a big question on your mind. Then let's gather the insights from another leader herself, Lynette Tan.
Well, have a very warm welcome to this conference, and thank you to the Economic Times for inviting me to speak. We are indeed in a very exciting time today, Asia 2022 to 2030. Of course, in the beginning of the year 2020, we were hit with the COVID pandemic, and many economies and countries were not sure what to do with it. But it does seem clearly the signs are there that we are in a post-pandemic era. And what should business leaders in Asia, look for and focus on in this roadmap in the next 8 to 10 years in order to take advantage of the growth in the post-pandemic Asia? I'm Lynette Tan. I come from the Singapore Space and Technology Limited. We are headquartered out of Singapore, and we look into the adoption and acceleration of space technologies, working with communities, working with individuals, working with enterprises and countries, government, to advocate the use of space technology and accelerate its development to benefit lives on Earth for companies and for the people, and certainly for the planet. I will be very succinct in this presentation and provide specific concrete steps in a very specific context in Asia and at the leadership role that we can play in this world. There are three important trends. I think we hear too much of them. I don't feel that, however, it has been sufficiently internalized, and therefore that voice and advocacy is important. Repeating it and reiterating it is important, even though, like I said, some might claim we hear too much of it. I think these are genuine game changers, and it will take us through the next decade and decades to come in order to have a vibrant, robust, sustainable Asia for us to live in and for us to operate in. The three focus areas I want to look at is in securing our future by internalizing and understanding and acting on sustainability. Looking at innovation through entrepreneurship and engaging talent through diversity and inclusivity programs. These are the three things that I will articulate in the next 10 minutes. It is very clear with various projections, and I have extracted them from various sources, that the world is looking positive post-pandemic, but the greatest growth would come from emerging markets and developing economies, and that will take place predominantly in Asia, in an emerging and developing Asia. We are looking at 6 to 8% growth, far more than any other economies and markets. And I think with that growth comes changes in the community, it comes changes in the lifestyle, and these changes come at an important time where many global pressing needs are taking our attention. And therefore, it's important for leaders in Asia to position itself carefully, strategically, to drive sustainable growth in the right direction so that collectively we can ensure a prosperous and equitable Asia development. Leadership in Asia is going to be extremely colorful. I think for most of you who have lived even just within India, you will realize the diversity, and the vastness of the different culture in one singular country. And then we look into Southeast Asia, and we look into supporting Asian economies. It is a leadership that will require a lot of color, and a lot of sensitivity to what's important. But it is a place that we cannot ignore. It is a place that is poised for substantial growth. It is a place that we can take concrete actions to change the world, to encourage prosperity, and to make it equitable, and to secure our future. Now, in that context, certainly the sustainability as a focus will be very important. In Asia, we have a large population base, and we have a lot of natural resources. As we come past post-pandemic, there are many opportunities and entry points for leaders to look into their business operations, look into their business plans, and start making concrete changes well ahead of the curve. And even then, it is already not ahead of the curve, if you know what I'm saying. So I think as the economy starts to open up, as we're starting to move into an endemic mode and riding the growth, today, if not yesterday, is the time for leaders to look into embedding sustainability into their operations, to look into the triple bottom line, not just in profits, but also in footprint of carbon usage, looking into complete ecosystem understanding of how we are consuming the environment, and then how we are ensuring that generations to come will have a habitable planet. It's just like how when the pandemic hit, many businesses switched into using video conferencing. We switched into using cloud. We switched our businesses and we moved operations into one that handles the pandemic. The pandemic took place in over 2 years plus, and it was very sharp, and therefore it created a lot of trigger. Sustainability and the climate issue takes place slowly but surely and dangerously over a long period of time. And in that regard, we don't feel the impetus. But I urge all of us to look into how we have converted and pivoted and transformed businesses during COVID, to look at sustainability as a pandemic and to switch gear, accelerate developments, and focus into sustainability. It means we go back to the drawing block. It means we look at our business operations. It means we start looking with new lenses, the way we did for the pandemic. And I think now is the right time for a very decisive call to action, for decisive business leaders to take decisive actions to make that change today. And businesses who do not use this opportunity of a changing point here to embed sustainability into their business plan, you are setting yourself into a trajectory that will place yourself out of business opportunities. Now, I have used this slide, which is very cluttered, to talk about leveraging innovation and leveraging entrepreneurship. And I thought when the previous point was about sustainability, it was a very big picture point, but I want to now move into a very specific case in how in our program, we have leveraged the accelerator program to foster partnerships and developments with entrepreneurs across the world in the last 2 years. And if you're an organization that is poised for success, you will find that the general trending towards decentralization, increasing more affluence and intelligence and knowledge into a greater population of people, you will realize that innovation now no longer will happen in centralized functions. It will happen in a decentralized manner. And the entrepreneurship way is an important path for business leaders to access innovation. What we have done was to create an accelerator program headquartered out of Singapore. And to date, we have almost 38 companies in our program. It's not a typical accelerator program. There's a lot of deep curation, understanding of the business propositions, a lot of venture building and brokering. And therefore, the team can intimately understand how some of these business can change what the future enterprises would operate in. So what I urge business leaders in looking to some sort of innovation sprint, looking to some sort of programs outside of your organization, and I'm happy to talk to anyone to give advice on that, but I think you have a vast network, but talk to someone on tapping onto the rise of the entrepreneur, and their innovation culture that is happening across Asia, and look into them seriously as a new area of growth that can benefit your business in the long term. So this is a specific program SSTL embarked on 2 years ago in the midst of the pandemic in order to tap onto the ideas, the innovation of these entrepreneurs globally. The third point is also very close to my heart: diversity and inclusivity. And I will talk about two aspects here that business leaders could consider. Certainly, engaging women is very important. Coincidentally, today when I'm doing this recording is the International Women's Day. So, I want to give a shout out to all the women who are working hard in various levels and in various path, to drive the way, the better world that we are living in today. But certainly looking into including women into the workforce needs a lot more focus and attention. The journey has started, the mission has begun. It is incredible. I think we're getting very positive feedback from various communities, companies, and countries to ensure we get women into the leadership suite, to ensure we have more women's voices to be heard at various levels. And I want to be also very cognizant here. We are not saying that, oh, we need 50-50 or we need, a certain percentage. There is an arbitrary percentage, and of course, 50-50 becomes an easy target. And sometimes the numbers are important to focus leaders in going in a certain direction. But certainly, we want to break the bias and encourage women at various levels to be able to speak out. This is interlinked with the mission and sustainability, and it is interlinked with the mission of getting entrepreneurs into the system, because you will find diversity in voice, ideas, and innovation that will contribute to the sustainability mission, and that will contribute to you getting new innovative ideas. So working on diversity is very important. It is a very big topic, and I urge business leaders to take it very specific, very deliberate, step by step to ensure we get there, and to go beyond the superficial, talks about it, but genuinely bring women, bring a diverse workforce into your leadership, into management, spend time understanding what it takes, and spend time understanding what has been current biasness, conscious or subconscious, that has been inhibiting your transformation in diversity and inclusivity. There is another D&I, diversity and inclusivity topic I want to talk about, which is in ageism. I know many people look into the Asian market as one that, on one hand, you have countries like Korea, Singapore, and even China that's aging. And on the other spectrum, you have the, other Southeast Asian countries and India with a very rich, vibrant, youthful workforce. But at some point, we need to also look into D&I to include ageism. The vast knowledge of senior leaders and veterans, even not at the leadership position, that they have accumulated should not be wasted. Tying in with the positive impact of longevity and tapping into the knowledge of the experienced people is important. However, it is not so simple as, okay, we allow them to work, because with seniority also comes a certain pressure on the organization. Looking into the topic of ageism very early on allows business leaders to be able to understand the Pan-Asian economic development, to be able to tap onto their network, knowledge, expertise, and experience to grow, into a truly international and global organization. And for companies already international and global, tapping into ageism allows you to have a head start in securing that, you are in a dominant and comfortable position and strategic position for growth. This is a topic that doesn't get discussed a lot and that has only very superficial understanding of it at various levels, but it is a conversation that we need to start now and not 20 years later, because we are in this position where we want to take advantage of the diversity. And these includes also, the aging population, to be able to make sure we ensure economic growth, leveraging on their experience. To summarize, I thought that for leaders in this post-pandemic era, there would be a few things to look into. One is in sustainability, securing our future literally, and ensuring a habitable and livable planet and an environment. Two, in tapping on to decentralized innovation, to tapping onto the entrepreneurship energy and intelligence in order to change business and position it for growth. Lastly, looking into issues of diversity and inclusivity. Specific actions I recommend is first, look into gender equality and keep an eye out from other D&I issues, including ageism, which I think will play a very important role in ensuring the business growth here in the Asian economy. I know I skipped the part because I wanted to go into the, I skipped the part on introducing myself because I wanted to go into some of these very important topics as we are riding out of the pandemic. Again, so I'm going to do this at the last. I know it's a bit unusual, but I think some of you might be curious where I'm from. So I work in the Singapore Space and Technology Limited. We are an organization headquartered in Singapore, and we run a range of technology programs to advance the use of space technology. We connect people, we connect companies, we connect countries, we accelerate developments in technology, and we cultivate projects and talent ahead of the curve. These are our global partners. And with that, I end my conversation. Again, thank you so much for this invitation into this forum and network. I think the conversations we're having today is extremely important, just as we are coming out of the pandemic. Business leaders have the responsibility to position its business, to pivot it, and to move it into a trajectory that will ensure sustainability within Asia, sustainability in the global landscape, and to look into some of these pressing issues today in order for us to do business in the better world that we should be creating and that we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynette, for those dynamic thoughts. I think it got us all absolutely glued, especially around the concepts that you were explaining, which are generally touched on the surface, but really need to be given utmost importance. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is also move forward towards our next topic. So stay with us, because it's also time for a keynote address on a very, very important topic coming up your way in just a couple of seconds.